Friends, I just pressed the Let's Go Live button. It's a beautiful Thursday. We're back in trial mode, baby. So we got to wait for the stream to fire up all across the fruited plain of the interwebs before we go ahead and get started and see what kind of jurors we got on the panel. As soon as the tubes connect themselves, it looks like they have. Is YouTube working? Hopefully it didn't do that thing where it logs me out again. You know, it tends to do that. But it looks like we are warming up, my friends. That's tremendous news. That means we can go ahead and get started. So let's do it, shall we? Are we live on YouTube? Let's do it, shall we? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to yet another episode of Watching the Watchers Live, the show that spotlights misconduct involving police, prosecutors, and politicians. My name is Robert Gouveia. I am a criminal defense attorney, and today we're talking about Trump trial, day 3, baby. We got jurors now who have been selected. The numbers are 12 at last count. We may have an alternate or two that came skidding in, and we're getting much, much closer to opening arguments in the very historic first ever prosecution of a former president and current presidential candidate. And so we're going to get into this today and see what is cooking. Of course, as per usual, we're going to go into the X scripts, courtesy of our friend Matthew Russell Lee. He's over on X at Inner City Press. He was there all day just tweeting away, rah, boom, 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 all day. I don't know how he does it, but his links are in the description below. We're going to go through everything that happened inside of the day's courtroom. But before that, we're going to see what is happening with Trump and some new filings from his defense, because Trump did come out and speak a bit today. We have a short clip of him from this afternoon, but his attorneys have also been sending in letters, lodging their objections so that when this case goes up on appeal, and it probably will, that they have something to hang their hats on. Here we're talking about presidential immunity. And a couple weeks ago, we remember that Donald Trump submitted his motion for an adjournment and basically a consideration of presidential immunity, given the fact that the Supreme Court of the United States is weighing this issue right now. And they said, from Merchan, he came out and said, no, timing, bad timing, trial scheduled too soon. You missed the boat, should have filed it sooner. And then Trump's team, as we'll read through, they're saying, you're wrong about that, Judge. We're allowed to file this whenever we want. You totally screwed this on us. And we'll see what is inside. And then we'll listen to this juror, who may have been an actual favorable juror for the Trump defense, who excused herself from being on the panel, said she may or may not have been able to be bipartisan or impartisan. And so we'll see what she says before, as I mentioned, we jump into the trial and the trial activities. And so we're excited that you are here and with us. We're going to jump into a ton of stuff. Before we get to that, though, I wanted to share this story and this message here from our sponsors about this wild situation that has been reported by the Daily Mail. You've probably seen this. USDA and China labs are now creating a deadly virus as part of a $1 million collaboration, and we're all paying for it. What the heck is going on here? This is a report, news article. It says a letter states that the research could threaten national security. It involves infecting ducks with different viruses to make them more infectious. What? 18 members of Congress are demanding answers from the Department of Agriculture. We're going, oh my gosh. Does this feel like deja vu to anybody? It sort of feels like we have a bunch of incompetent people who are trying to figure out what to do about all this. And so the question is, are we prepared? We remember the last pandemic, and some of us were not prepared, yours truly included. And so this time around, if they're going to do something else, we got to be prepared. We got to have life-saving medications on hand, not just remedies, things that are lifelines for the next time, which, as we know, could be any day now. It's 2024. There's a lot of madness going on. And so let's talk about the Wellness Company and their prescription medical emergency kit that you can get. It contains 8 life-saving medications, things like ivermectin, amoxicillin, Z-Paks. It's got a guidebook in there, tell you exactly how to use it and when to use it. You're not going to find anything like this in a pharmacy at your, corner store. And so every American should have at least one of these kits in their home. Ordering your kit takes less than 2 minutes. Very easy. Couldn't be simpler. So go to twc.health/Robert. twc.health/Robert. Use code Robert to purchase one of these puppies, and you'll get $30 off and free shipping. And for the cost of a single doctor's visit, get all this stuff delivered right to your door so that you are prepared no matter what. Go to twc.health/Robert and use code Robert at checkout. And then just as a reminder, these things are only available in the USA. So check that out, and shout out to our sponsors, and thanks for supporting them. All right, now, and of course, the links are in the description on how you can go and get prepared. Now, without any further ado, let's get into it on the day, because we've got business to attend to. Starting now, Donald Trump and his defense blast Judge Juan Merchan for denying their request to dismiss this case based on presidential immunity, or at least to postpone this pending the Supreme Court's decision on the immunity issue. And so we're going to take a look at what the defense said when they sent this into Merchan. They said, basically, you relied on the wrong rules. The rules say we can bring this up. Your deadline excuse as to why you denied this in the first place is all not proper. It's bad judging, right? Your opinion is invalid. So we'll see what they say. We'll hear from a juror who is not going to be on the panel, so an excused juror. But Trump came out on day 3 of the trial, and he had this to say. You see, he walked out with a big stack of papers, and he's going to explain to us what's going on in this ridiculous show trial event.
In New Hampshire, I'm supposed to be in Georgia, I'm supposed to be in North Carolina, South Carolina, I'm supposed to be in a lot of different places campaigning, but I've been here all day on a trial that really is a very unfair trial. These are all stories. This is over the last few days from legal experts. This is Wall Street Journal editorial, but all of these are stories from legal experts saying how this is not a case. The case is ridiculous.
I should have wrote an article so we could put it in that stack, you know.
There's another one. The case is a ridiculous Trump indictment. It's missing fraud. There is no fraud. All of these stories are stories of how, and these are done by the experts and editorials. Bragg falsified business record, and he falsifies them. He's the one. He's the fraud.
Yeah, he is the fraud. And they deleted a bunch of their own evidence. Remember, we're trying to figure out where Mark Pomerantz's deleted messages are. You remember that guy, the guy who resigned because he was so upset that Alvin Bragg wasn't going to prosecute Trump. Again, the zombie case keeps popping up from nowhere until Matthew Colangelo came back to resurrect it. It was dead. So Trump is asking a very good question. Where are the government records from the prosecutors? Why did Mark Pomerantz, who's no longer on the team anymore, why is his cell phone records gone? Where did that go? It's like Liz Cheney. J6 records just gone, evaporate. Strange.
But take a look at all of these are stories. You see them here. Bragg's indictment even falls as an indictment. All of them. Bragg crosses the Rubicon, indicting Trump on nonsense.
Yeah, it's nonsense, and they did cross a Rubicon, so we hope they know what they're doing, but we're not sure they do. Now, let me just share this with you. Some time ago, we read Trump's pre-motion letter to really dismiss the case and to request an adjournment in this matter so that we could allow the Supreme Court to clarify this presidential immunity issue and whether or not the president, has immunity. And we have oral arguments on that on the 25th, which we're going to be covering live. So thanks for joining us on that one. We've been investing a lot of time in this issue because it has already come up in the J6 case. And to say that the president of all the other people in our government doesn't have immunity, but judges do, prosecutors do, cops do, everybody else does, but the president, when it's convenient for them to prosecute him, doesn't make a whole lot of sense for our constitutional structure. And we can't wait for SCOTUS to weigh in on this. But April 15th is when this got sent in. And of course, the dockets are all delayed. We're getting this actually directly from Todd Blanche at blanchelaw.com. But that's because the court is not publishing this stuff. And the defense has even asked them to publish this stuff, and they won't do it. The judge is like, well, it's close enough. You have enough access that you come into the courtroom and transcribe it with your hand if you want to. So anyways, now when I first opened this, I don't know if anybody else caught this, but man, you remember the crack that the judge had about these one-page pre-motion letters, right? So they're limited. And the judge said, your font seems to get a little bit smaller every time you submit these. Well, I opened this one up and look at these margins, man. Look at those margins. That's like a college scandal. Shout out to Todd Blanche, man. I really appreciate the bravado on that one. He's like, yeah, no, we're going down to like 0 margins. This is like printer. You get a warning for that. You try to margin this up, right? Because the judge said you only get 1 page because he doesn't want them to write their ears off. He doesn't want to read anything. The judge's like, no, you get 1 page. He's like, fine, I'll get 1 page. I'll cram as much crap on there as I possibly can, judge. It's like the reverse of college or whatever. 20-page limits. You kind of put those 1.5-inch margins in. Looks like a single column kind of a thing. So he's doing the reverse of this. Like, you get warnings on this, okay? You try to do this in Microsoft Word. Todd Blanche is a dangerous man. Okay, he's pouncing around here in his micro word processor. And he goes, watch this. He looks at his law partner. He says, watch this. Edit, page, margins, click. 0.0. His law partner says, don't do it, Todd! Emil Bove is diving over a table. Todd Blanche doesn't slow down for no man. He presses enter. Boom! 0.0 margins. Word says, are you sure you want to do this, you madman? Are you sure? Your printer's going to explode. He says, I'm doing it anyways. Boom! And then boom, and here we are. We fast forward, and this is what happens. And you can see how enjoyable this is. Well, here's what he said. He said, Dear Judge Mercan, I hope you enjoy my very densely packed letter. We respectfully, so-called, submit this pre-motion letter as discussed to a prior jury to jury selection on April 15th regarding our evidentiary objection to Bragg offering evidence about Trump's official acts. Remember, Donald Trump was president at every time that there was an alleged crime in this case. The actual criminal charges are about invoices, ledger entries, and checks that were all written from in the year 2017. Trump took office in January, wrote the first check in February. So that was an official act. Whether or not they like that, they're saying Trump was the president and he was doing things as the president, and so it's an official act to deal with it. So they say, okay, based on that, he needs to have a lawyer as the president and a personal lawyer wrapping up his affairs as the president. So that's what Michael Cohen was doing. And that means that those official acts are protected. So, and covered by presidential immunity. So it would be an extension of that concept. And so they said, look, Your Honor, we asked you to hold off on this trial while the Supreme Court is reviewing this. And for the reasons stated previously, they say President Trump is entitled to immunity from prosecution for his official acts. It's the same concept we're talking about in the J6 case. Says the D.C. Circuit in Blassingame versus Trump from 2023, the D.C. Circuit instructed a trial court in a civil case to distinguish between official acts and private acts. What's official, what's private? What's protected by immunity and what's not? Well, the difficulty, though, of meting out that distinction in some situations then cannot justify simply giving up the enterprise altogether. Like, just because it's hard to do that doesn't mean you don't do it. Similarly, when interpreting an analogous doctrine of legislative immunity, so like Congress has immunity, SCOTUS characterized an official act like a congressman's speech as inadmissible evidence at trial. That also involves proof of non-official acts. So the bulk of the evidence in that case did not present a substantial question about the exclusion. And evidence of congressional speech was a constitutional problem, and it should have been precluded at trial because it's protected. You can't introduce it as evidence against somebody because it's protected. That's what immunity is. You get to say those things. You don't get to turn around and use some congressperson's speech against them in criminal charges, right? That's their job, is to speak. So in United States versus Brewster, the Supreme Court characterized that prior case as a unanimous holding that a member of Congress may be prosecuted under a criminal statute provided that the government's case does not rely on legislative acts or the motivation for legislative acts, right? So things that are in alignment with legislation. They say that logic's pretty clear. If you take it from Johnson and Brewster and you apply it under analogous circumstances when it applies to the president, that also requires preclusion. Anything that's official can't come in, right? Just like Congress has immunity, you can't use the things that they do that are protected against them. That's what immunity is. Now, specifically, the court should preclude the executive branch personnel public financial disclosure report that Trump submitted to the Office of Government Ethics. He says that, so they're going through specific exhibits now. So the people have Exhibit 81. They say that should not be allowed. The 2018 social media post to Twitter that President Trump used as at the time, those are official acts. Don't use Trump's tweets. Any witness testimony about Trump's official acts during his first term, like testimony by White House staff, right? Those are official acts with Trump. That's his administration. So, for example, the D.C. court in another case said if an activity is organized and promoted by the official White House channels, it's more likely it's presidential. It's official. The Twitter account is one of the White House's main vehicles. So you don't get to talk about that. Those are his official acts. Those are immune. At least we think they are until SCOTUS settles this for us. In other words, they say there was a clear nexus between the congressman answering a reporter's questions about the congressman's personal life and his ability to carry out his duties, right? His personal life kind of impacts his ability to get stuff done. Now, finally, there is no procedural impediment to this application. On April 3rd, the court denied Trump's immunity motion. They called it untimely. Remember, the left was very excited about that. I didn't even file it in time. What kind of legal team does Trump have? They said, Judge, idiot, you said that it was untimely based on CPL 255.20. Wrong. They say, if you read that, that provision is limited to pre-trial motions, which, as defined under the law, doesn't apply to motions to preclude evidence. We can file those anytime, Judge. So thanks for digging in and trying to come up with some justification for saying it was untimely, but it doesn't apply to motions like this. Moreover, Trump was not required to raise this objection prior to trial. He's not required to do it. Remember, the judge said, you could have brought it up then, and you could have brought it up then, and you could have brought it up then. And so now you're bringing it up now. It's too close to trial. I'm not going to let you. And we were reading through that statute, remember? We were reading through like, what on earth? This is weird. And I read it wrong like 3 times because it didn't make any sense. I'm like, you got to file all your motions before 45 days in New York? That's ridiculous. I remember reading, I'm like, what? That's crazy. And it didn't make logical sense. And it's obviously because there's another statute that says it doesn't apply to a bunch of other stuff, right? Like this one. But he elected to do so. Trump says, I'm not required to file your motions, Judge, to tell you what my strategy is. They're trying to introduce evidence. We filed a motion to preclude the evidence. Trump decided to file this one after the Supreme Court granted certiorari. Supreme Court's higher than you, even though you think you're a Supreme Court judge, because you name yourselves that, because in New York, they identify that way. The low-level judges are like, I identify as a Supreme Court justice. You're like, okay, yeah, I know. You guys are weird in these very blue states and cities. But in any event, the historical significance of this issue and the fact that it is under consideration by the Supreme Court warrants the court exercising discretion to address the objection on the merits for purposes of necessary appellate review. So in other words, even though you denied us on this one, you still got to address this, okay? Because we're going to be appealing it. We have immunity, as we say, and you should have not ever had this trial start in the first place. So even though you denied us, we're still filing this stuff, and we're making a record signed by Todd Blanche, who did an excellent job. I think he could have fit another sentence in here, just to be just kind of a punk about it. Thank you for your attention to this matter, something in there, and just period that right there. We'll see if he hits that next time. But outstanding filing. I mean, really, really, this one's excellent. Look at this one. He covered the whole thing here. Every stinking white piece of paper on here, he is cramming in there. So I'm sure the judge is just not happy about that. He opened this up. He's like, look at these margins. Ah, Todd. Ha! I can feel it. I know he's not happy about that. So shout out to Todd. Point Todd. Judge Mercon, Democrat judge with Democrat daughter 0. All right, now. We have that. Let's see what the actual scenery was like. This is an excused juror who excused herself, which may actually have been somebody who was good for Trump. I haven't listened to it. We'll listen to it together. But she said a dismissed Trump juror, this came over from our friends at the Post Millennial, says that she spoke to other jurors about the case and they feel the duty. So we'll listen to some of this. Then we'll jump into, in our next segment, the Day 3 affairs, courtesy of Intercity Press. Here's what it sounded like outside the courtroom today, Day 3.
I do. This is Kat. She runs a VC fund here in Manhattan for folks that are over 60 years of age. She was just dismissed as a potential juror. What happened? Why were you dismissed?
Because I couldn't be impartial.
You couldn't be impartial. So when the judge asked that hand, can you be impartial? You raised your hand and you said you cannot.
Exactly.
Wow. When did you first come?
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday. And at that point, when did you realize that this was a trial involving the ex-president of the United States, Donald Trump?
So we were here on Tuesday from 9 a.m.
Ex-president?
But we realized that it's about this case on 4 p.m. We went into the courtroom and we showed Donald Trump.
You went into the courtroom at 4 p.m. on Tuesday and you see Donald Trump.
Yeah, we didn't know before that.
What was your first thought?
I was shocked. I was sitting on the second row, like 6 feet away. And when I realized that Trump is there, I was like, oh, wow. I couldn't believe it.
What about the people around you?
Everybody was shocked. Everybody was frozen.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
No, like frozen, no expressions, nothing. We were all, you know.
Did he
that was
look,
the case.
Did he look back at you? Did any of the attorneys look back at you at that time?
Sometimes Trump would turn his head.
Yeah.
But that was it, yeah. He didn't stand up or anything.
Were you following the case before this?
I didn't really. I'm too busy.
You're too busy, but you knew he was on trial, or you knew he was going to trial.
Yeah, it's just the headlines, but yeah, too busy to read the details.
Have you ever served as a juror before?
No, that's my first time because I just became a citizen in August.
Yeah.
And that was my first call. And that
so
was,
you just became a citizen of the United States. So that means you've never voted in a presidential election.
Exactly.
You get called to be a juror, and this is the jury that you are called to.
Yes.
What was that? Is unbelievable.
Pretty nice.
That is unbelievable.
I know.
What was your impression of Donald Trump when you saw him?
I think that actually bodes well for Trump, right? If she would have been on the juror, right? Probably, someone who's not a native New Yorker's got to be better than a native New Yorker.
You know, he looked less orange, definitely, like more yellowish, like yellow.
Yeah, because you didn't have your stupid news media adjusting the tint on their TVs, right? They weren't adjusting the screens to make him look like the orange Cheeto so they could all go make fun of him.
Nothing else
Like
than that.
guy.
He looks.
Weird.
He doesn't look angry, or I think he looks bored. Like he wants this to finish.
Yeah, he's got a
go
campaign to run.
Do his stuff. That's how
he's got a country to run.
Did you have any discussions with other jurors when you left the room about kind of how huge this case was, how historic it was going to be?
Yeah, everybody.
What were they saying? What were you guys talking about?
About this, it's a historical case, and this is going to define so many things. But at the same time, our job as a juror, right, is to be impartial, like to be unbiased. So it was,
so hopefully why couldn't you
weird,
do it?
like the whole
what's going
atmosphere,
on?
like
Why
such
did
an
you raise your hand?
important case at the same time. Yeah.
Did you talk to anybody that really wanted to serve in that jury?
That anybody that they wanted
Any of
to
the
serve?
other jurors that you
Yes.
spoke to, were there people that said, I want to do this, I want to serve on this jury, I want to be a part of this? Did anybody voice
No, but
that to you?
they feel the duty, definitely.
They feel the duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how
Did you feel that duty as being a new citizen of this country? Was there a part of you that said, I want to serve?
I feel the duty, yeah. I'm a citizen, yeah, and I have responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
Of
That's
course,
right.
I feel the duty.
We do.
Yeah.
That's right. We do have responsibilities. That's right. We do.
Does this make you want to follow this case even more?
Not really.
No?
No.
Wow. Well, Kat, I'm so thankful that you took the time to talk to us.
Ask her
And
the
I wish
question.
you
How
the
come
best
you're
of luck.
not?
Thank you.
Quite a moment as your
It
first
is.
time serving
Yeah.
in
I
the
missed
jury
that.
and being
Makes a
new
good
citizen
story.
of this country. It makes for a very good story.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
But I have a
Thanks.
question. Before you let Kat
Unbelievable,
go
Anna.
there,
Right.
Before you let Kat go,
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
just
yeah,
curious because she
Yeah.
talks about duty.
Come on back, Kat, come back.
If she doesn't run away, she talks about this sense of duty, but
She's here,
it was
she's here.
also
I'm here.
in part her duty, right, to be very honest, and she couldn't be impartial. She felt,
Yeah.
Right.
and given she's spoken with others who were around her, does she get a sense that there will be a jury that can be fair and impartial selected at the end of the day?
So Anna is our anchor who's in the chair right now, and she's just wondering, as we're talking about this idea of duty, right, and this idea of being fair and impartial, do you feel like the people that you were speaking with in that jury room that you sat with all day on Tuesday, that they can put together a fair and impartial jury because of that sense of duty? Do you think that's possible?
I'm not sure about that.
Oh,
Really, why?
Everybody has biases, and stereotypes
Yeah.
in their mind. So you have to be a really, deep and, fair person, which is very hard to do, right?
Yeah.
In order to serve as a juror. I hope
Yeah.
they do. I mean, this is justice, right?
Yeah. No, it's not. You're right. No.
I hope they do, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kat.
Yeah. Hey, brilliant. Honestly, this woman seems very competent, and she's quite frankly, too good for this ridiculous garbage crap case that they're bringing. But she, welcome to America. You're right. We do have a responsibility. She recused herself. Apparently, we don't even know why, as far as I could tell. I couldn't even glean from that unless I missed it. But was clear that she doesn't think it's going to be fair and impartial. Why? Because it's a political prosecution. It's the whole nature of the charge is unfair. And she could just walk in there, feel the energy, and of course, she tells the truth. So welcome to America. We're great to have her. More sense than most of the rest of the city, evidently, recognizes what's going on here and is not going to be a part of it. So shout out to that woman. Of course, we're going to see who else actually made it onto the panel in our next segment. And so we'll see you there, my friends. But thank you for subscribing wherever it is you're watching this. Thanks for pausing, liking this video, inviting a friend or family member to come over here and join us when we go through this case, because there is a lot to unpack. And as we can see, there's a lot that they're not sharing with us about Trump's objections and the various filings that are happening behind the scenes. So thanks for inviting someone to come on over here. It's a great way for our channel to reach new people, because we know the algorithm doesn't serve us up. So thanks for doing that. We also have some great links in our description below. We have a members only community at watchingthewatchers.locals.com, where we do streams in the morning, streams on Saturday, and after parties after the live shows. We'd love to have you come join us. Links down in the description. We'll see you back there and back here on the next one. All right, my friends. Now, let's get in to the day. Jurors have been seated. We're now finishing out alternates. Busy day in court. We're going to go through it courtesy of Matthew Russell Lee at Inner City Press. All of his links are in our description. He's there reporting, tweeting like a madman. We're grateful for it. Wouldn't be able to go through it without him. So please be sure you are supporting him. But there was a lot of contention about posts, social media posts from these various jurors that really led to many of them being busted. And so we're going to get into it and see who is left and who made it onto the panel. Now, here is Inner City Press reporting on X at Inner City Press. And you can see he's got books, he's got a Substack, and a bunch of other stuff. We're here on day 3. And as a recap, we got 7 of the 12 already selected. The courtroom is busy. There's tension in the air. Donald Trump comes into the courtroom. Boom! Blue suit, blue tie. Defense lawyer Susan Nicholas running right behind him, plugging along in her laptop. Now Trump, as before, seated in between Todd Blanche and Emil Bove. Everybody's busy. Suddenly the clerk comes in. All rise. Oh, gosh, here he is again. Judge Juan Mercan comes out. All rise. Okay, please be seated. Clerk says, this is the time set for people of the state of New York versus Donald Trump, case number, blah, blah, blah. Judge says, hey, hold up a minute. Hey, do we have a court reporter in here? No, we don't have a court reporter. That's not good. Where's our court reporter? Okay, we're going to have to do that again. So in the meantime, counsel, please approach. Attorneys walk up to the bench. They have a short conversation. Someone scrambles, court clerk. She's like, oh, crap, it's 9:15? What? Oh, no. Clerk comes in. Says, again, take 2. All right, we're back on the record. This is the people of the state of New York against Donald Trump. Judge Mercan says, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Judge. All right, we received a call to start the day off. We received a call yesterday, this is the judge speaking, from juror number 2. If I recall correctly, she was the one who said, no one's above the law, because that's the Democrat platitude that they beat into their New York brains, evidently. So she calls in. She said she had concerns about her ability to be fair. Yeah. I directed her to be here at 9:15, and so please bring her in. And that's juror 280, right? Looking at his list. Clerk says, yeah. All right, bring her in. She comes in. He says, good morning, juror. How are you? Fine. So we had a call yesterday, and I want to ask about what you thought. We had a conversation. You were going to think about this. What do you think today? Tell me about what's on your mind. What's going on? She comes out. She says, well, I have my concerns. This juror says yesterday alone, I had friends and colleagues who questioned my identity as a juror. They said, is that you? Like, we remember when you were driving around honking your horn or whatever. I think that was her. Driving around honking her horn. Rah, rah, rah. Yay, Biden celebration party. I don't think I can avoid outside pressures, right? Everyone knew who I was. He said, okay, well, you're excused then. And while you're here, before you're excused, they leave. Now, I want to address the press, says the judge. Now, there's a reason theirs is an anonymous jury, he says, scolding all the media. The press is free to write about anything said here on the record, but please avoid physical descriptions here. And why did someone mention an Irish accent, for example? He says, inner city press didn't do it. Shout out to Matthew Russell Lee. Prosecutor says, Your Honor, maybe we should not ask the question about current and prior employers. Maybe if we don't ask them about that, then people won't know who they are. And the judge says, yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that. I think it's a great suggestion. Great idea. And this is so ridiculous. Okay, these are like two children. It couldn't be more obvious. I think we should get rid of the questions about current and prior employers. Why? So we don't know whether they work for Joe Biden or for a company called Authentic Campaigns? Yeah. How about no? How about we want to know if they work for the federal government or work for the New York government? Judge says, yeah, great. I'm fine with that. Remember, they ask about people who support Trump organizations, right organizations. I'm perfectly okay with that. Trump's lawyer, Susan, says, what? No. No, sorry, Judge. That's why we asked for a written questionnaire. Okay. We already got that. He says, well, that's already happened. We already have the written questionnaire. And Todd stands up. He says, Your Honor, we need to have the information about the employers. Okay. Maybe direct the press not to report it. Okay. But we need to know who they are. Now, many people, not inner city press, reported the juror who works at a particular private school. Like, okay, come on. That's a little too much. Like, he works at this school. Come on. Inner city press didn't do that. That's why we're supporting Matt. Good to see you, Matthew. So Justice Mercan says, all right, look, we need the information on employers. Yeah, but we'll redact it. All right. And I direct the press not to report on those answers. There's case law on this, is there? And he filed a brief. Man, shout out to Matthew Russell Lee on a similar issue in a OneCoin case. So prosecutor continues from Bragg's office. He says, Your Honor, Donald Trump violated your order 7 more times last night. He posted about Michael Cohen. He called him a serial perjurer, because he is, and a federal judge called him that too. Trump also posted it on his campaign website, and last night on True Social, he posted another article against Michael Cohen. Says most troublingly, the prosecutor probably stumbled it out like I did, says the defendant reposted about the liberals lying to try to get on the jury, which it sounds like they have. They said I could be fair and impartial. And then we ask, is this your husband with a severed Trump head? And they're like, oh yeah, but that's comedy though. I'm not partial. We are considering options, says the prosecutor. And we're going to decide what relief to ask for, because he reposted Jesse Waters' clip. Todd Blanche says, Your Honor, President Trump's responses are political in nature. Okay. He's responding politically. And Emil, another Trump lawyer, says we intend to brief whether reposting material that is already public can violate the gag order. Okay. It's already public. So he's just reposting stuff. He's not actually saying it. He's just retruthing it. So cram it. Judge says, well, I look forward to reading your little brief there, Emil Bove. We'll have the hearing, and after the hearing, I'll rule. It's like, oh, great. Remember, they already scheduled the contempt hearing for the 23rd, which we'll be covering. Emil Bove says, okay, can we have some additional time to brief that for you? He says, no. Get it to me on the 23rd. All right, yeah, we thought I'd ask. Figured it. Judge says, all right, we haven't even started the day yet. Says, I'd like to also address juror number 4. Okay, so 2's gone. No one's above the law gal. How about juror number 4? Now, even though they're not here, I was notified by the prosecutor that the DA's office, as part of their research, has come across info that possibly called into question the truth and the veracity of Juror 4's answers. Uh-oh. They said, we discovered an article that a person with the same name was arrested in 1990s in Westchester for tearing down political advertisements. It seems the juror was also previously accused in a corruption inquiry, and they got a deferred prosecution deal. Huh. Now, we discovered an article that a person from the same name... Now, here, judge says, okay, well, did the propaganda that was ripped down on one's favor one side or the other? I believe it was to the right. So the propaganda was to the right. So we agree we need to inquire, said Todd Blanche. So this guy's going around. So I don't know how this person was even on the stand, on the panel in the first place. So he's got, this person says, I can be fair, I can be impartial. Turns out he's got a corruption inquiry. And it's interesting why they may, let's see. Ripped down, so he's ripping down stuff. Did it favor one side or the other? It favored the right, so he's ripping down stuff from the right. Say, we agree we need to inquire. Justice Mercan says, well, the juror was reluctant to come in. So he says, okay, call him in. They said, okay, bring him in. So, well, he was reluctant to come in. So we could just excuse them. They bring him in. Prospective juror enters. I'm sorry. So I think maybe they excused that guy. So that must be the excusal of that one. So they probably excused him and he's gone. So 2 and 4 are gone. Again, right, it shows you kind of how problematic the jury process can be. This guy was almost on the panel and he was literally ripping down right side propaganda. Charged with crimes for that. So he says, okay, so we're gone. We're down now 2. Like we started the day with 7. We're down now to 5. All right, bring him in. Bring him in. Bring in the other juries. They bring him in. Judge Mercan says, all right, look, some of you, the whole new panel, are about to be selected to be jurors in this case. Now, this is Bragg versus Trump, Democrats versus Trump. It says, my role here is to assure a fair trial. Cue the laugh track. I decide questions of law, and I tell you what the law is. You're the judges of the facts, and we're not going to be here on the 29th because of Passover. Now, the attorneys have given me names of people who are going to be here. You know who they are. Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen and all of them. Now, if you now feel you cannot be fair, raise your hand. And then I will ask if you're unable to serve for any other reason. If you can't be fair, no one here, it's Trump seated right there, let us know. 646, etc. Now, the press question, has Justice Mercan, this is from I think, Inner City Press. This is my question. Has Justice Mercan said anything you've seen about jurors banned reporting hand raising? Don't know the answer to that. Maybe he's asking other members of the press to see if they've reported something like that. Interesting. So Mercan continues. Now, those of you in the jury box, please follow the sergeant. While we arrange the seating, counsel, can you please come up here one more time? Attorneys walk up to the bench, have a conversation with Trump, and they're back. Now, I will then ask you to answer every question orally. Seat 1, we go through the numbers. Seat 6, B500. Sorry, moves people over. We play the musical chairs game again. Bunch of people go from the big group, right? So they ask 2 questions. Do you hate Trump? Yes, you're gone. Any other reason you can't be here? Yes, you're gone. Okay, we've got a group that's left. Let's move some of those people into the actual seats, and then we'll start questioning them individually. Seat 1, you're up first. Remember, we've got a list of a bunch of questions. They're going to run through them on their own. Sir, tell me about you. Well, I worked at the federal courthouse next door. I worked as a clerk over there, and I discussed with my coworkers and my boss, Mark Pomerantz's book, who was a former prosecutor. I'm not married. I work at a big law firm. Do I have to say which one? No. I read as much as I can. New York Times, CNN, Wall Street Journal, podcast, economics. No, friend who's a victim of a crime. And I've also worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Great. Which one? Didn't report it. Inner city press not going to report it. Now, I've discussed some of the legal merits of this case with many coworkers. Oh, you have? So you're a former prosecutor. You've already came to a conclusion basically on the legal merits of this case with many coworkers. Would that impact you, Mr. Former Prosecutor? He sighs. No, I can put it aside. I'd have to work a full day when I'd get out of here. I have attended rallies, like the Women's March. Now, I do have to read the news for my job, though. Could you turn away to anything? Could you turn away to anything about this case? Yeah, I could turn the news away about this case, but I was reading about this case on Monday. He says, thank you. C2, let's go to you. She says, well, one of my children works in D.C. in the office of a representative. Great. I wonder who that is. I have 3 children. I've been a mom for 23 years. Shout out to our moms. I love technology. I don't follow the news. Podcast, all about tech. Scott Galloway podcast, Julia Lewis. I had a speeding ticket, but I didn't really enjoy that. No one does. Do you hate Trump? No. Any reason you can't be impartial? No. Okay, thank you. Next seat, a man. Says, I live in Hell's Kitchen. I work in investment banking. I've got an MBA in finance. I'm married. I live with my wife, which is, I think, normal. Enjoying New York City here. I work in capital markets. I'm on Twitter. Oh, and I follow True Social posts of Trump on Twitter. Hey, I did lose an uncle to crime. I might take Tums for acid reflux here, though. A little bit nervous on the day. I'm agnostic. I was Catholic. I do follow Trump on X, and I do repost stuff from True Social. But I will give my assurance that if Mr. Trump does not give evidence, I will not hold it against him. Judge says, thanks. Great. We got a Truth Social here guy again. Great. See if he gets on. Now, seat 4 says, my husband is a former assistant U.S. attorney, former prosecutor. That's great. Which district? Who knows? Now, I have 2 kids. I like to play tennis. I read the first 10 pages of Disloyal for business reasons in publishing back in the day. Question 42. No, I don't hate Trump. No reason I can't be impartial. That's Michael Cohen's book, Disloyal. He's written many of them because this is his whole life now. Seat 5 says, I'm a New York Times subscriber, but mostly for the crossword puzzle. They got pretty good games over there. I was mugged, but it was a long time ago. I've got a cousin in the DOJ. There are some lawyers in the family. I've got a cousin who went to prison for drug smuggling, and I read The Art of the Deal years ago. Nice. Says this guy, seat 6, West Village, started a hedge fund last week. I'm in startup mode. Single, live alone, no children. I like restaurants and bars. I attend galas and charity events that I'm personally organizing. New York Times, Wall Street Journal, X, no podcasts. And I was a victim of an attempted burglary in New York. The perpetrator was never brought in. I read The Art of the Deal. Any reason you can't be here? No. Thanks. Seat 7. We got a couple good ones right there, right? You reading The Art of the Deal? Okay, pretty good. Now, I live in the West Village. I'm from California. Do I have to name my employer? No. I'm married. I got 3 kids. My wife teaches. A couple brothers-in-law who are lawyers. And no reason I can't not be here. Thanks. Seat 8's a man. Originally from Lebanon. Worked at a major firm as a wealth manager. I still work for 3 former clients and I consult now. I also got an MBA. Seat 8. Meditates every morning. It's good practice. Should do more of that. I watch CNBC, BBC. Number 42? No. Seat 9's another man. Good morning. I live in Hell's Kitchen. I'm in law enforcement for 34 years. My employer is... I have season tickets to the New York Rangers. I like to go to Yankee games. Knights of Columbus. I served on a jury late 70s, 60 Center Street. It was an injury trial. I read the Daily News and the Post, and I do not have a smartphone. I just use a flip phone. And so since I use a flip phone, I don't listen to any podcasts. I listen to sports talk radio, and I can be fair. Thank you, sir. All right, jurors, we're going to take a short break. We're not. We're fast forwarding, time traveling ahead, thanks to Inner City Press, linked in the descriptions below. We're back. The juror we were waiting for has arrived earlier. Lawyers, please approach. And he's sharing the jury questionnaire. Now, how should we handle this juror, they say. All right, this juror just showed up. Okay, may we approach Juror 4 is the one we saw earlier. I'm directing Juror 4. Juror 4 was the guy who was tearing the signs down. I'm directing the juror 4 to not come back on Monday, so he's officially gone. So earlier in the transcript, they paused, and we came back to that, and he's gone. Trump's lawyer, Blanche, says, Your Honor, it's cold in here. Todd's a little chilly. Can the heat be turned up? He says, well, if I tried that, it would probably go up 30 degrees. I'd rather be too cold than sweating. All right, so they're trying to freeze him out now. All right, layer up, guys. Put some underwear on. Some of the, long johns. What are they called? Well, I'm in Arizona. We don't really use those things. But, the underwear, the long sleeve underwear, whatever you put them on, bundle up, bring a friggin' parka in there. That's okay. Let's get it. They're doing it too. He's probably bundled up under there. He's probably got a parka under that robe. He's like, let's see if we can freeze him out of here. I'm not joking about that, okay? Like, this is warfare, okay? Justice Mercan says, we'll continue with seat 10. Let's go. We're back. Thermals, long johns. There you go. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thermals. Yeah. He could be naked under there, too. You never know. That's the strange thing about the robe. You never know. Maybe he just, runs hot. Who knows? All right, but we're back to seat 10. She's a woman. All right. Now, she says, I live in Gramercy Park 4 or 5 years. I'm from Miami, Florida. I also lived in, and I worked for a large media company, like large. Before that, I was at a big law firm. Says, I am on the board of a national bar association. Wow. And it's an ethnicity bar association. So national, whatever. And in the same, I have family, unfortunately, that have been victims of the crime. I've never been the victim of a crime. I've got allergies, but my medication is non-drowsy. Says, yeah, about Trump, 34. Yeah, I've got opinions on him, but I can set them aside. I've not read the publications in number 35, and I've not read any of Trump's books. In law school, I was asking about political contributions, but I can be fair. And yeah, I can be impartial. Yeah, I can. All right, next, seat 11's another woman. Says, I live in Inwood, and I'm from Long Island. I'm a gosh, all these legal people. I'm a paralegal at a major international law firm. I have a BFA. I'm married with 2 adult kids. I've done work for the ASPCA, been on 3 juries, 1 criminal, 1 insurance fraud, and an alternate in a medical malpractice case. It's settled. I read the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, sometimes the Post, NPR, BBC. NPR's going through it. No podcasts. Nope. And I have been mugged a long time ago. It says, my son works as a ratings analyst, and I don't know what, I honestly don't know what he does. And any reason you can't be fair? No. Seat 12, another woman. I'm a speech therapist, not married. I do not have any children. I live alone. I was called to jury duty before in New Jersey. I do listen to podcasts about reality TV. Question 42, can you be impartial? Anything that would prevent you from being fair? No. Seat 13's a man. I live in the Upper East Side. I'm self-employed. I've got 1 stepson. I like to play tennis, family, food. I work out a lot. World Monuments fun. I read the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, no podcast. But I did grow up in Nevada. My father was close friends with a well-known politician, and we don't know who that was. No for 32, but I did read The Art of the Deal, and I can be impartial. Thank you. 14's a man, living in Murray Hill, born, raised in Ohio. I work in e-commerce at a large somewhere company. I'm not married. I love the outdoors and animals, he laughs. Any reason you can't be fair? No. Says 15. Well, I'm a finance professional. I'm married. I'm a parent. Wall Street Journal, Fox Business, no podcasts, no talk radio. No reason I can't be fair. 16's a woman. Says, my apartment was robbed one time. That has nothing to do with this, I guess. I have a close friend that was also convicted, and I can be fair. 17's a female. I live on the Upper East Side. I'm a physical therapist. I'm married, no kids. I enjoy paddleboarding with my dog, my husband, and our dog. I listen to podcasts about sports. 2 brothers-in-law, 3 sisters-in-law, who are attorneys. No reason I can't be fair. 18 is from Italy. Says the media pushed an association between Trump and Silvio Berlusconi. Remember that? I do. He says, fine, you're out of here. You're excused. Get out of here. Get out. Oh, you found that offensive? I think they're best friends, so you're out of here, Judge says. Seat 18's a woman. Says, I work as an asset manager. I live with my boyfriend. He's self-employed. I like to run and eat food. Now, the attorneys, okay, we've got through the whole panel there. So now the attorneys are going to ask some questions. But first, it's lunchtime, and we're back. Fast forwarding through lunch, checking in with inner city press reporting. Matthew Russell Lee, linked in the description below. Brings us back after lunch, says, all right, we're back in court. Judge Mercan says, all right, welcome back, jurors. Now it's time for the lawyers to question you, and each side, each attorney is going to get 30 minutes. Mr. Government, you're first. Prosecutor Joshua Steinglass, Bragg's not going to do anything in this case. Says, hello, everybody. Prosecutor, I'm prosecutor. We represent the people of the state of New York. The defendant is Donald Trump. Now, does anyone here feel that Trump is who he is? The fact that he is who he is means that we're going to have to prove more than we would have to prove for others? Because it's Trump that we have to do more than we'd have to do from anyone else? Anyone? How do you feel, juror? Well, I could be objective. And you? I think the standard's beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, does anyone here feel that Trump... next question. Former law clerk, how about you? I thought about it over lunch, that I discussed the case with my coworkers, and I'm afraid that's going to seep in here. So this guy says, I probably got to go. Now, thank you for being honest. The charged crimes, they run from 2015 to 2016. Now, you're not going to learn why it's on trial now. He's telling them, right? So don't ask about why this is so long ago. We all know why it's happening now. The election. But the prosecutor says some of these witnesses have issues. A porn star, Michael Cohen, he's trying to, what we call draw the sting, right? Get stung where you want to get stung. Get stung now. Don't surprise people. Start persuading the jurors now. Look, this is what you're going to get. Porn star, liar, tabloid publisher, blah, blah, blah. So they feel it. Several of the witnesses have also been given immunity. Trump says, objection, Your Honor. What is he doing right now? Overruled, says the judge. Keep persuading them. Prosecutor says, how about you, juror? You said that you've met Susan Nicholas, one of Trump's defense attorneys. Would that impact you? No, it wouldn't. Does anybody have a problem, says the prosecutor to the full panel, relying on context clues? Anyone know? Who here has kids? Hands go up. And so your kids, let's say one of them has a chocolate mustache. Did they drink the chocolate milk, or was it smeared on their lips? Some juror whose accent is recognizable but won't be repeated here said, well, it's possible either way. Smearing is possible. Prosecutor says, Mr. B500, can you follow the facts where they go? Yes. And how about you? Yes. And how about you, 714? Any doubts? No doubts. Now, some people have a problem returning a verdict of guilty. Is that you? Look at the defendant right now. Could you return a verdict of guilty, B440? Could you? How about you, B500? And you, B744? And what about you, B423? You can do it? Thank you. Trump's lawyer's up. Susan Nicholas stands up. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your time being here today. Sorry I had to listen to that weird prosecutor. He said that you can understand witnesses contradicting themselves. He said that. But some witnesses lie. Anyone have a problem understanding that if stories change so much over time that they might be lying? Anyone have a problem with that concept? Now, some of these witnesses have expressed great dislike for President Trump. Can you evaluate them on that? Trump's attorney says, number 11, for example, you said that you did have strong opinions about President Trump. Is that true? She says, yeah, well, we have different views. And have you posted about your opinions on those views on social media? Well, she says, yeah. If he had a policy I disagreed with, I might post about it. Okay. And how about you, juror number 502? You said that someone you know works for someone in Congress. Who do they work for in Congress? Oh, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat Speaker of the House. Very fitting. Thank you. And B675, hi there. Do you have strong opinions about President Trump? Juror says, yeah, I agreed with most of his policies. Whoa! I agreed with them. And has your husband posted about President Trump? Says no, he's not on social media. Or sorry, I think he is on Twitter, but I don't think so. How about you, next juror? Do you have strong opinions about Trump? Says, I saw Marla Maples and him shopping for baby clothes. Oh. And how about you, 784? Do you have strong opinions about President Trump? No, fairly neutral. Susan Nicholas, 470, the defense lawyer, says, hey, 470, you look like you're cold. She says, I'm friggin' freezing in here. Because they're trying to freeze him out. Nicholas says, and you? Well, as a wannabe hockey player, I still thank you for fixing that Woolman rink. Look, he must be looking at Trump. So do I. Yeah, 440. Do you have any strong opinions? Well, as a voter, I feel I should be informed. Yeah. And how about you, 500? Any strong opinions? 500 says, I don't like his persona. Looking at him. He's just very selfish and he's very self-serving. These people are funny. This is not appropriate in a public servant. You know, it's not my cup of tea. Wow, 500, a little spicy over there. So you don't like him, is that right? Yeah, I don't like him. How about you, 744? What's your opinion? Well, some of his policies are good and some are outrageous. Outrageously good. How about you, 789? Well, politically, there are things I'm not in favor of. And Mr. 496, do you have strong opinions about Trump? Well, he was our president. Pretty amazing. Shout out to 496, baby. Says, I started out as an entrepreneur as well, and I've made a lot of things happen like he has. Man, 496 is the man. Shout out. Yeah, it's hard to build things. It's hard to start out as an entrepreneur and actually build something. Next year, I have disagreed with his policies, but I feel I could be impartial. Well, what do you think of him? Well, everyone knows who he is. When he was president, everyone was talking about politics. Now, not so much, after he's president. And how about you, 742? Any opinion? Well, I have some in favor of him, some against. I find myself to be quite centrist. Sometimes the way he carries himself in public leaves something to be desired. My family comes from totalitarian regimes. Well, get used to a new one. It's coming around the corner here. Everyone needs a chance. Wow, man, some of these people are pretty good. But could you return a verdict of not guilty? Now, you heard this prosecutor come back out. You heard him ask you if you could find him guilty. Now I'm going to ask you the reverse question. Could you find him not guilty to you? Absolutely, I could. How about you? Yes. And 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 how about you? Yes. And even you? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the jurors now step out. Mercant says you guys are excused. Lawyers are going to be making some decisions now. They go through here. All right, how about the first one? Number one. Any challenges for cause? He says, yeah, number one, the government says, she said she has heard so much about the case that she could not be fair. And Susan Nicholas, the defense says, number four, yeah, she stayed at my house 15 years ago. What? Did she not remember that? How did that not come up? Yeah, she stayed at my house 15 years ago. We had a slumber party or something. I don't know. She said that she would talk. Huh? That's weird. Okay. Now, I guess it's New York City, but it's a small town. All right. Yeah. I can't believe she didn't mention that. I thought we were friends. I guess he didn't have that great of a time. Okay, whatever. Trump's lawyer says her husband has written about again and again our client. Was that in a book? No, it was in a review of what? It was about Maggie Haberman's book, and I haven't seen them in years. So she knows this person, right? Stayed at my house. Her husband wrote a book about Trump. And then they bring the juror back in. Hey, well, how do you know Miss Nicholas? She knows. She's like, oh, we stayed at her home 15 years ago. It's like, hello, you didn't bring that up. And your husband? Well, he's general counsel at a company and he does book reviews. So he must have said something. I think he reviewed Maggie Haberman's book. Trump's lawyer says, I've never seen a juror who knew one of the lawyers on the case not be dismissed. And so that's not grounds for dismissal, says the judge. I don't care if she knows you. Your challenge for cause is denied. Says, okay, well, we also seek to remove seat 11. Okay, well, we're only doing 1 through 7 now, so we're not doing those. So it doesn't look like he strikes anyone. How about any peremptories then, right? So now it's who do you want to just strike because you can? Well, we want to strike seat 4, the lady who stayed at my house. Whatever reason, whatever. Well, seat 4, yeah, the new seat 4, and 680. And he says, okay, so the musical chairs move again. Seat 3 becomes juror 2. Seat 7 becomes 4. Any cause on 8. Any cause on juror 8. Susan Nicholas says, oh yeah, we have cause. Look at these vitriolic posts from juror number 8. She said a racist, sexist remark. She wrote, I wouldn't believe Trump if his tongue was notarized, is what she wrote. And the judge says, well, these posts are old. I mean, this post is from 2016. And this one from 2021 refers to Trump's mob. Yeah, that's right. But in 2016, Your Honor, she also posted that Trump is a racist and a sexist narcissist. And the juror on Tuesday, the government says, she said Trump should be locked up. Now, this juror has mellowed out a bit. Okay, so let's bring her in. She's calmed down. Those are old, angry posts, but she can still be fair. They bring her in. Hey, okay, 4:30, judge says, do you recognize these social media posts? She reads it. She goes, it says, stop the racist, sexist. She goes, oh, yikes. I forgot about that one. Yeah, that sounds bad. Yeah. I was a Sanders supporter back then. And she said, I was in a disturbed frame of mind. Well, you have to be to really be a Bernie Sanders supporter or a Democrat in general. At least she's recognizing that. Yeah. However, if she would have been MAGA, then maybe she would be in prison. You see how that works? So some people, post a little bit aggressively on the internet. They go to jail if you're a Republican, but she gets to maybe be on a jury. Okay, how about the second post, says the judge. They show her the second one. She goes, oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, they're very negative posts, I'll say. Yeah, but electoral politics can get pretty spicy, and President Trump can get pretty spicy too. At my core, though, I believe in fair trials. Like, please put me on here. Put me on here. Trump's lawyer says, well, this trial is about that same time period. So you were posting in 2016. This case is about transactions from 2017. So have you changed your views? Yeah, I've changed my views, definitely. I would withdraw the term racist, all right? There are behaviors of Trump toward women I don't agree with. Like what? The locker room tape? But that's not this case. Trump lawyer Nicholas says, but you wrote, though, that he's a liar. You said that on social media. Well, I don't think he would lie in this courtroom. And judge says, okay, thank you. We got enough from you. You can step out now. Thank you, Miss Juror. He's like, she's going to be perfect. She's going to be great. Now, the prosecutor says, well, what do you think? The judge says, what do you think? Government says, well, her statements kind of speak for themselves, I think. And the judge says, yeah, it's a close case, but I'm out for cause. So this was a tough one for him. He's like having to decide. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Some woman who had a bunch of like ranty, disturbed mind frame posts by her own admissions almost made it, man. Almost. And this is only the stuff that they're finding, by the way. Okay. So imagine now, after some of this comes out, they're all going to be locking down their socials. Go delete everything. So Mercan says the defense has one peremptory. What would you like to use? She says, okay, seat 10, 742 needs to go. All right, so then 8 here becomes seat 8 on the jury, and seat 12 becomes 9. And Steinglass says, the prosecutor, okay, we've used 8 of our peremptories, so we've got 2 more, which means we're going to strike 13 and 15. And he says, okay. So then seat 14 becomes seat 10. And Trump's defense with their peremptory says, we also move to strike, or maybe not a peremptory, strike the juror who said she doesn't like President Trump's persona. And they say that's not enough for cause. It's only a persona. Doesn't like his personality, so she can be fair. He says, I deny for cause on that one, so that juror's staying around. Says, Your Honor, there are preconceived notions here. And he says, shut up, Susan. I deny your challenge for cause. So sit down. Seat 16 becomes 11. We'll also fill 12. And so let's move on to the alternates here. So seat 18, here comes alternate number 1. Bring the jurors back in and we'll sit them all today. So boom, that's our first 12. We need 6 more to round it out. We've got the full panel now situated. And of course, 496 gets nuked. See that one? That was our guy. They nuked him. Cheers to 496. Good effort, man. Cheers. Pour one out for 496. All right, so the jurors are coming back in. Jurors, you will be called for your permanent seat on the jury for the trial. Take your seats. B. Seat 2, you're B65. 12, you're 440, and so on. They're all sworn in, blah, blah, blah. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have to select all 6 alternates. But I'm hopeful we will have opening statements on Monday morning, and I ask you all to come back then. So the first 12 are there. Now, of those who are left for tomorrow, when we come back, we're going to have seat 1, B428, seat 2, B441, and so on. And the judge tells them where they'll be tomorrow. Says, Your Honor, jurors, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. And the prospective jurors leave. Government prosecutor stands up, says, Your Honor, were you going to break early on Monday and Tuesday to accommodate counsel's religious observance? Todd Blanche says, Your Honor, Tuesday is a religious holiday all day. He says, it's not a court holiday, though, so get your butt back in here. I don't care. We'll work until 2 p.m. and then we'll call it an early day. And says, prosecutor still whining on, Your Honor, Mr. Trump has been tweeting about the witnesses. Now, we are not going to disclose who they are in advance. And Todd Trump's defense says, Your Honor, what if we commit President Trump won't tweet about them? He says, I don't think you can commit to that. It's Trump. He says, well, how about attorneys' eyes only then? Because they want a witness list, right? So Trump's defense must have said, are we going to get a witness list? We have opening arguments on Monday. So who are the witnesses going to be? Government says, we're not giving you our witness list. Why? Well, Trump's been tweeting about them. So we're not going to tell you who they are in advance. We're just going to bring them in one at a time. Well, what if we say Trump won't tweet about them? You're not going to do that. Well, make it attorney's eyes only then so we can prepare. Justice Merchan says, no, I'm not telling you who's going to be testifying in this case. I am not ordering them to give you the list. See you tomorrow. And so they're not going to tell them, right? It's kind of a courtesy. Hey, who's coming up next is something you disclose to the other side so they can be prepared and so on. But they're not going to do that because they're the rotten Manhattan DA's office. And so, my friends, day 3, we've got a full 12 seated. We'll be back tomorrow to seat the remaining 6 alternates. The good ones are gone. And so we pour one out for the juror who didn't make it. But we do have, it seems like, maybe a couple jurors on there who are not totally demented New Yorkers. So we'll see about this. As always, we're very grateful to Inner City Press, Matthew Russell Lee, doing the incredible reporting on this. And I'd encourage you to go follow him at Inner City Press. His links are down in the description below. His Substack is linked down there along with his X. And we're grateful for his work. Wouldn't be able to do this reporting without him. So we are making our way through it, my friends. Some of the people that we heard from today were a little better than yesterday, right? The first batch yesterday was a little rough. Today was much better. And so we're going to be back here tomorrow on day 4. We're going to be assembling after everybody's picked and we have the musical chairs all situated. We'll be learning more who our ultimate jurors are and then preparing for opening arguments on Monday as we continue to cover this. And so thank you, my friends, for subscribing as we continue on. Thanks for inviting someone you know or love to come on over here. We know the trial is not being televised, so this is the best thing that we've got here, and I think we're getting some good insight. So bring them on over here, and thanks for checking out some of our other links in the description below, including watchingthewatchers.locals.com, our members-only community. We do live streams in the morning. We do shows on Saturday. We'd love to have you come hang out with us. We have a lot of fun. So come check it out, watchingthewatchers.locals.com. And one more time, don't forget to go and follow Inner City Press. All his links are down in the description below. We'll see you back here on the next one, my friends. All right. Well, that is it for us on the day, man. So we got some good stuff. We have a jury seated, some interesting jurors on there, and Trump is lodging his objections. He's saying, Judge Merchan, you're going to have to address this, okay? Even though you crammed this trial down all of our gullets, you're not out of it yet. You still have to rule on these issues, and we're going to be appealing a lot of this one way or the other. And so now, my friends, it's time to hear from you. And before we jump on over and hear from your comments, a reminder that we've got watcherlodge.com. We have Sovereignty Saturdays. So come and join us over there. We're going to be going live Saturday as per usual. And we're talking about I've been in a personal development seminar today and tomorrow. So we're going to be debriefing a lot of that. Anything that came over from Genius Network from today and tomorrow, we're going to debrief. And so come and join us, watcherlodge.com. Also, watchingthewatchers.locals.com is where we'll be going in a minute. But my friends, we have some great donos. Thank you for your incredible support here today. Starting us off was Mima. Mima, good to see you. And I know we missed this one as we were wrapping up our stream this morning. So thank you for saying this. Woohoo! Been a membo for 3 months over on the YouTube membos. We got Crashes here. Crash to Contrary says, Rob, I think it was on Kudlow today discussing Trump's visit to the bodega. It was suggested that Trump should rent a Madison Square Garden for a rally and then a Yankee Stadium on his non-trial days. Sounded surreal, but not a bad idea. And Crash, yeah, we were talking about like Trump Tower diplomacy, right? The Trump Tower strategy. Kind of that 2016 vibe again. He had the president of Poland who came by. We talked about it this morning on our morning stream. And what if he does that every Wednesday? Has a new world leader come through, has new, like big figures come in, 2016 vibe. Good stuff. Good stuff. What's up, Crash? We got this one from Mimas, bringing in 5 new membos. We got Chris C. Thank you, Mima. Wheezy Bob. We got Jacob A. Cheryl P. Ulsterman is in the house, all courtesy of Mima, bringing in the newest of membos. Hey, what's going on? And AHNC Hat has rated this stream. Oh yeah, we turned on Twitch today. I turned on Twitch today because I'm testing out some new software. We're probably going to try some new software tomorrow. Currently, I'm using Restream. I think we're going to move over to StreamYard probably tomorrow because they have a pretty cool new webinar feature that we want to try out with our membos. It looks pretty cool. All right, so we're on Twitch now again, and I'm going to see how it works. I don't even know how it works, so that's going to be fun. Thanks for what's up. Thanks for rating us. Shout out to our friends on Twitch today. We got Bonnie says, how can Trump get a fair trial when 86.4% of the jury pool voted Democrat in Manhattan? Can't. Yeah, I would say that he cannot. If the default, right, if the default is you're picking from an 86% poisoned well, your odds are that's already not fair and impartial. From the very beginning. That's why they're picking these jurisdictions. Tony Hay Munkets says, John Cougar broke my heart. John Cougar broke my heart. Is that John Mellencamp? Oh, I see. When he was up there on the stage, I saw that clip. Yeah, well, they lose their minds, when they go Hollywood. B-Man says that blasting game case is a civil case against President Trump because he caused insurrection. That will be next. So you're saying they're going to try to also sue him civilly for the J6 event? Wouldn't surprise me. Melissa Moe over on Locals says, I still don't get how they can charge this as a felony without a conviction for the underlying federal crime. Well, the judge explained this. The judge just said that the statute under which Trump is being charged, it doesn't require a conviction. He just interpreted it as saying it only requires intent to commit an offense. Like, that's it. Not an act in furtherance of the nothing. Just the intent to commit the felony. That's all. It's insanity, but that's where we're at. What's up, Knox? Thank you, Melissa. Great question. We're all still trying to figure it out, but that's what the judge has done. Knox says, happy Thursday, all. This was good. The link is saying a Texas appeals court agrees to toss a scattershot bar complaint against Trump attorney Sidney Powell. Wow. So Sidney Powell freed up in Texas. Very good news. Yeah, very good news. Glocky is here on Locals, says, that's odd. I seem to remember the federal government declaring that voting machines were vital infrastructure. So did Ray just admit that the voting machines are infiltrated and therefore unreliable? Oh yeah, this is an interesting clip. Christopher Ray saying that our infrastructure has been hacked. And we talked about a wild story from Margot Cleveland this morning on our member stream about someone in California installing, communicating with China, literally, on their system. It was called, oh gosh, the name of it. Connick. It was the Connick case. And George Gascon is not going to be prosecuting it. Isn't that fun? Good to see you. Shout out to you, Glocky. Thank you for that one. Donut Mind Me and is clipping for us, bringing in Tony Hay Munkets. Hey, it's the Munkets with 10 new members. Top Load Telly. We got Maddie Adams, Black Dragon, Rose B, Cameron S, Leon Lately, Boiler Operator, Stumpy Stew, Christian P, and Clyde B. All gifted members, courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets in the house. Good to see you. 10 more from Tony. We got Tay Marie, Will Reed. We got Thos Almon. We got that guy, Lisa Jane. We got Jim G, Azure Sky, LTC Vet, and Rodney, along with Melanie, and 5 more from Tony Hay. White Buffalo, Squatch Girl, Are You Kidding is here. Rebecca J and American Dreamer in the house. That's 25 members, courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets. Thank you, Tony. Hey, Phil Swede says, are we here in Sweden be just disgusted? Oh, how them scurvy Democrats be dragging Lady Justice in the gutters. Is that how they talk in Sweden? That's interesting. That's interesting. I thought they were pirates. Is Sweden full of pirates? Man, second look at Sweden. Sounds cool. Hey, what's up? Jonathan M says the statute of limitations for 175, which is what Trump has been charged with, was extended because Bragg says Trump was continuously outside the New York. Corporations or persons in the Trump org in New York City could an injunction stop the trial in federal court. So there's a lot in there. But yeah, I think there are many reasons as to why the statute of limitations might expire, but I still haven't seen a good explanation for it. I mean, he was outside of New York because he was the president for 4 of those years, so wouldn't that I guess they would say that would toll the statute of limitations on that. So that might be the justification for that portion of it, but it's still a misdemeanor. And so even then, we're in 2024. Right. So even a misdemeanor is not going to be not going to be longer than that, which is why they have to bootstrap it into a felony so that it does survive the SOL. Truth in Action says the woman who was interviewed said that she had spoken to other jurors after going through the process. She commented on people having biases and then when interviewed felt that he could not get a fair trial. Curious. Yeah. Sounds like she's onto it. She knew exactly what was going on there. Rocky Water over on Locals says, cheers to Matthew Russell Lee. Dude should move to Locals. He's on Patreon. I think he's doing pretty. He's got on Substack now too. Yeah, shout out to Matthew Russell Lee, man. Really great reporting. Tony Hay Munkett says, if you could decide right now, would you find Trump guilty? Oh, answer's yes. Perfect. Come on into the jury. We got this nice freezing seat for you. Here, have a seat. What's up? Nitty Lenny says, there are a lot of state attorneys and prosecutors, etc., in the jury pool. Called stacking the deck much? Is the random juror mailing really random? Yeah, good question. I don't know in New York. There were a lot of lawyers and finance people. It's like, is that just New York? Is everybody a lawyer or a finance guy? Sheesh. All right. Flash River. What's up, Flash? Says, Rob, per the juror who was dismissed due to tearing down right side propaganda, what, that's biased reporting? There's no evidence of such a thing as right side propaganda at all. From my experience, 99% of the right's reporting is always accompanied by the receipts. Right side receipts. Facts. There you go. Boom. Drop the facts. Good to see you, Flash. Yeah, and they do that now digitally. They also tear down the signs digitally. That's just what they do. NY Renal says very few people who work in the U.S. Attorney's Office could be impartial. Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me? You think a prosecutor's ever going to vote for a defense? Ever. Never. They're all still working for Fani Willis. Like, she's like the crime ringleader. And they're like, well, she is the DA. They're still working for her. The legal community would hold it against him. So even if he was fair, he could easily lose his job. Totally. 100%. The institutional pressure for prosecutors, they think they never do anything wrong, always. Goofy for Jesus says, anyone watching CNN, MSNBC heard nothing but Stormy for months. I watch all media. It was so gross. Yeah, they are their heroes, right? E. Jean Carroll, perjurer Cohen, porn star Daniels, Conway, the rest of them, they love them. It's weird. They have a weird fetish for strange people. MJ Powell, what's up? Our newest Spotlight supporter member over on the YouTubes. Welcome aboard, MJ. Sheila P says, OMG, I was crazy then, but now I'm not. Boot these hacks, man, these political hacks. Knox is here. Thank you, Sheila. Knox says, in Texas, I get the witness list at pretrial. They cannot call anyone not on the list. Yeah, but Knox, if you tweet something, will you murder everyone involved in the case and their entire families? Well, maybe that's why they give it to you. Trump will murder everyone if they give him the list. Everyone will die instantly. Londo says, this needs to be appealed to SCOTUS right now. It's a national disgrace that is doing irreparable harm to the justice system, and just like hanging chads, this needs to end. SCOTUS, yeah, well, SCOTUS isn't going to do anything. Mima is bringing in new members. What's up, Drew D? We got Chinny Win, David H, Isaac Space Jesus is here, and Justin Y, all coming in as new members. Jennifer says, YouTube unsubbed me again today. I had to resubscribe again. Are you serious? That's very curious. There's shenanigans afoot on the tubes. I was listening to Tim Pool yesterday because, you know, if they're coming after Tim Pool, we're all like, what? Are we next? That's not good. So that's curious. Yeah, it's election season. I'm bracing for impact. Thank you, Jennifer, for the report. We got NY says, so I say this as a former New Yorker. Don't discount the Trump effect, okay? Trump grows on people, and he's a New Yorker. He is charming. I agree. I'm not even a New Yorker. I think the guy's hilarious. But... and competent, right, relative to everyone else in our government. So hopefully there's a small, you don't need a whole jury panel. You just need one really. Dolphin Fan is the man, bringing in new members. We got April M, Maina M. We got Willie L, Simon C, Dennis S, Marry Me, MJ, Piper L, Mr. Twister's here, Golden Gaming. We got Randy V and Melissa M's giving a shout out to Dolphin Fan is the man, bringing in the new members. Hey, what's up, Maynard? Also saying Tim Pool's giving legal advice again. Well, Tim Pool's a very smart man. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's good advice. But always consult a lawyer. You know, you always want to consult a lawyer. You don't want to, he's not creating an attorney-client relationship. All right. So always consult a lawyer. Even though it's good advice because it's Tim Pool, smart man. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for that amazing generosity. Let's say hello to our friends on X. Then we're going to wrap it up, go on over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com for our debrief. Hey, look what's going on. Speaking of amazing people, look at Good Logic, who just dropped us right on our X feed. What a great update. He says, watch this. Learn why my lawsuit against Judge Mercan is your right to free speech. Boom, we're going to retweet this puppy and share that. So make sure you go watch that to get the latest from Good Logic. 14 minutes ago, man. So it's fresh out of the oven. So go check that out. You know where to find it. Let's see who's joining us on X. Any comments here? Here's one. Who is this? Who is this? Juror number 7. They're not supposed to release photos of jurors. They already released photos of jurors. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I should share this because I know the media gets in trouble for sharing pictures of jurors, but I'm going to do it. If we get in trouble, I'm going to do it. We need to show you who this juror is. This is what she looks like. It's Juror B57. It's Juror 7 here. Can you be fair and impartial? Oh, absolutely I can. Yeah, of course. Absolutely I can. Any reason you can't be fair and impartial? No, I can't think of one. I can't think of a single person who could okay, so that's great. Okay, thank you for that. That's from Forward Thinker over there, and I saw that over on Locals too. Just hilarious. Hey, what's up? The Rockford File says the wires are connected. We made it. D, what's up, D? Love you back. Thank you for that. Crypto Nerd from the great state of Texas. Juror 7. Oh no. How many dissenting jurors does it take to hang a jury? Just one. We got to just have one, and it will settle it. Oh gosh, we've got. Oh my goodness, is this a Godfather meme? All right, so I'm not going to play the audio because we'll get nailed on it. But here's a meme that Glocky's putting together. I'm grabbing the U.S. Constitution, and we're about to take care of business, man. We're about to take care of business, baby. The U.S. Constitution, baby. Let's go and get it. Okay, you know how that scene ends. All right, let's get there. All right, thanks for that. That's over on X, and here's juror number 2. Here's another juror. Now, I don't know. This could be like Rachel Maddow. It kind of looks like Rachel Maddow. Here's juror number 2. Gender studies philosopher, professor. Greenwich Village. Married to female partner, like CNN, MSNBC, thinks Trump is guilty. Perfect juror number 2. That's just a joke, obviously. Hey, what's up, Danny says, this trial will be the trial of the century. It will be debated and talked about for a long time after I'm dead and gone. And Fred Pedamonte says, Rob, how can the judge say you can't submit a motion before writing a one-page document about the motion, and he'll decide whether he will allow it or not? Well, his inherent ability to administer justice in his courtroom. And another one from Glocky talking about Joe and his derriere. And so, great comments from our friends over on X. If you want to follow us over there at Rob Govea, ESQ is the place to do it. Also, other amazing watcher family out there. Be sure to follow them, like them, out there in the wild of the X platform. All right, amazing comments. Shout out to juror number 7. Amazing. All right, let's leave it there, my friends. We are going over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. Our members only after party is happening now. We'd love to see you come over and join us. All PDFs, all show calendar. So same times tomorrow. Members 1 hour early, show 1 hour later tomorrow because of the event I'm attending. But calendar, if you want to check that out, to robertgovea.com. We also have our newsletters there. Our merch store is there. We have our PDFs, our show reports, all there. Check it out. And of course, watcherlodge.com to go and sign up for our Sovereignty Saturdays. We're checking in on the home garden, and we got some other fun stuff that we'll debrief from the event that I'm at these next 2 days. We're going to debrief some of that on Saturday. Also, check out our sponsors, twc.health/Robert. Don't forget to use Robert and support our sponsors and get some meds. Shout out to our mods and our meme smiths. All of our tremendous help here comes from our friends Donut Mind Me, Economy Pilot, Dog Digger, Janek, Zach Nichols, Ronnie Cole, Playin' Hooky, Just Cause, and K-Bean in the house, along with our meme smiths, Geegum Geegum, Nathan N810, and Sleepy Dog Lee. But that, my friends, is it for us on the day. We're going to be back here tomorrow, and tomorrow's going to be a Friday, and we're excited about that. We always like when that comes around. We make it through another successful week. We're not done yet. Going to have another day of jury selection. Might be a shorter day, but we'll see how it unfolds. There will be business to attend to, and we need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. Sleep very well. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.